Good morning. Welcome everybody on a presentation of new product which we are about to add to our offer, that is double arbor MR200 multi-rib. My name is Adam Kubiak. I think I had a chance to cooperate with most of you. For those who doesn't know me, I have been working for Wood-Mizer for over 21 years. First 12 years I was working here as a mechanical engineer. Then next 6 years I was supervising engineering department, and 3 years ago I was moved to sales department, and my current position here is industrial sales manager. During the presentation, two guys from a service department will support me, Mr. Maciej Dzięciołowski and Mr. Adrian Bugała. We have two cameramen from marketing department, Mr. Marcin Piotrowski and Mr. Cezary Ponikły. So let's go to the topic, double arbor MR200 multi-rib. What kind of customer is dedicated for that machine, or what kind of application that machine could be used? Let's take a closer look on the machine. And Cezary, could you please bring your camera a little bit closer to that side in? Maciej, could you please open all those side covers? We start our presentation, I think, the most important part of that machine, from the blades. Right now Maciej is opening all covers just to have good access, good visibility to those components. As you see, there are two arbors and blades on those arbors. The count parameters we are able to process on that machine, maximum countness is 200 millimeters, 8 inch. The blades, circular saws, which we are able to use on that machine, the range of saws is from 200 millimeters up to 315 millimeters. Very, I think, functional feature of that we have possibility to position both arbors, top arbor and bottom arbor, individually. Maciej, could I ask you please to move top and bottom arbor a little bit up and a little bit down? I will take the measure tape just for better visibility. So right now Maciej is repositioning, is moving top arbor. As you probably can see, the top arbor is going down. Okay, right now Maciej, move it up a little. And as you probably can see, top arbor goes up. And please do the same with bottom arbor. Okay, it moved, it goes down now. And please move it back to its initial position. Okay. Why that functionality in that type of machine is that important? We can consider one situation. We are supposed to process maximum height of the cant. So we are about to process 200 millimeters thick cant. To do that, we need to position both arbors in its maximum open position, and we are supposed to use maximum diameter blade. In that case, we need 315 millimeters blades in diameter. We start processing it, and then at some stage we are supposed to change our production profile. For example, we are pallet producers and we want to start cutting cans with thickness up to 140 millimeters. If we leave position of both arbors as it was before, then we have situation that bottom arbor or the blades which are located on bottom arbor cut full height, and then the top arbor does cut remaining 40 millimeters. Bottom arbor cuts 100, the top cuts only remaining 40. It means the bottom arbor is fully loaded, but top arbor is only partly loaded, and this configuration limits our maximum feed speed, and also this limits our maximum output production. What we should do in that situation? We have possibility to center both arbors to the cutting height. So blades positioned on both arbors cut the same height. And in that configuration, we are able to increase our feed speed. Another possibility which we have here, if our dominating production profile is, for example, 140 millimeters, then we are able to move both arbors closer and put there smaller diameter blades. Smaller diameter blade means usually thinner curve, and thinner curve means higher recovery. So physically less wood is turned into sawdust. Our recovery is growing up. Additional equipment of that machine is inbuilt chipper. Cezary, I will ask you to point your camera to the to the sawdust chamber. The chipper is located in the bottom part of sawdust chamber. What is the role of that chipper here? For those who have experience with processing cans on edges, on any kind of multi-rip, we know that except sawdust, a lot of small pieces of bark, of cutouts are generated during the cutting process. All those pieces go together with sawdust and quite often are clogging sawdust chutes. And in that situation, from time to time, we are supposed to switch the machine off and clean the sawdust. Here, with that optional chipper, all sawdust and all those small pieces generated during the cutting process first go to the chipper, are chipped, and after that are taken by a sawdust extractor, which is located here just behind the sawmill. The sawdust extractor is also additional equipment here. A sawdust extractor parameters is quite strong. Electric motor here is 5.5 kilowatts. The output volume of the air is 3,800 cubic meters of air per minute. Sawdust extractor could be used with MR200, but also could be used with any other edger, multi-rip, or even sawmill. Price of that extractor is about 1,100 euro. Price of inbuilt optional chipper is about 1,700 euro. Okay, I think we can move to the in-feed side of the machine. Jarek, may I ask you just to take camera here? I will stand behind just to have better visibility. Okay, let's start from in-feed table. In-feed table is pretty simple, but also pretty strong. It's built in modular way. Length of single module is 2 meters. We can add all particular modules. It means there is no any real limitation regarding maximum count length. There is no any limit, so we can cut any length regarding the. As far as the minimum count is concerned, I think that is very important information. With MR200 multi-rip, we are able to cut 700 millimeter counts. I think, based on my information, that is a pretty unique feature. Only few multi-rips can cut that short count. Why we are able to process those short cants is just location of driven rollers here, which are located very close to the blade. In feed table is also equipped with side fans, which could be good reference point for processing cants with open side. So if we are supposed to process cants, two-side cants, then we don't need this. But sometimes there is a situation that our cant is open from one side and we want to get that side port with some particular thickness, then with using that side fence we can do this. Here on infeed side there is located a kind of assisting roller. What is the role of that roller here? When the operator put the cant on the table, the role of the operator is just to position the cant. He can position it based on the laser, which is also optional equipment here, or based on that side fence, and then all what he has to do is just to push it so the assistance roller will take it. After that, the cant will be fed automatically. So here is not a big effort from operator side required to feed especially cants. The maximum cutting width which we could get on that machine, MR200 could be offered in two options: narrower with maximum cut cant of 450 millimeters and wider version 540 millimeters. The unit presented now is wider version with maximum cut cant of 540 millimeters. It's good to mention, and I think it's good to remember, that on that machine we have possibility also to process wider cants than the machine parameters. To do this, we need to prepare that machine. Because both arbors are supported by bearings on one side, the second side is open. We can dismantle, we can remove some side covers, and with some additional equipment, some wider table, we are able to process wider than the machine parameters. After processing it, we can return uncut cant, and with using that side fence we can process it again. Operator panel. A few words about the operator panel. It's pretty simple and I think intuitive. What we've got here. Let's start from that side. Here we have switches for activating and deactivating both electric motors. Electric motor for top arbor and electric motor of bottom arbor. Here, both electric motors we can switch on or switch off separately. And that is another, I think, very functional feature. For cants with thickness below 100 millimeters, we can use only bottom arbor. So when we are supposed to process relatively thin cants, we can remove blades located on top arbor. We can move the top arbor maximally up, and for processing those cants we can use only bottom arbor. This could be significant energy saving. Here there are two amperometers showing the load of both main electric motors. All those buttons are for controlling feed speed. A maximum feed speed we can get on that machine is 15 meters per minute. Here we have potentiometer. Here there is the switch. We can change the direction from the left to the right. So if we have situations, some unexpected surprises, the cant get stuck there, with that button we can take it back. Optional equipment of feed speed is electronic unit which controls physically the feed speed. What is the purpose of it? If the operator exaggerates with feed speed, so we are supposed to cut some particular cant thickness, but the operator adjusted too high feed speed. The controller controls or monitors the load of both electric motors. If the feed speed is too high, it means the load is bigger than its allowable level, nominal level, the feed speed is decreased automatically. The same situation is when we cut relatively long time without replacing the blades. The blades are getting blunt, then more load, more resistance is generated. More resistance on the blades means bigger load on electric motors. So in that situation we also need to decrease the feed speed. So here the operator doesn't need to change it. The feed speed will be decreased in automatic way. And some additional buttons, safety switch and some control lamps showing activation of main electric motors and also activation of a whole machine. Okay, let's go to the other side of the machine. Here we have location of both electric motors. Let's open that cover. I'm not sure whether the visibility will be correct. All those pulleys are just for powering all individual arbors. Electric motors are located on both sides. As far as electric motors is concerned, the maximum power electric motor we can install here is 15 kilowatts, what is 20 horsepower. Maximum electric motor we can put here is 30 kW, what is 40 horsepower, 30 kilowatts per shaft. Here on the bottom part we have the shaft for powering that optional chipper. I want to point out to one particular feature on that machine. There is some kind of, I call it magic bolt. I'm not sure whether you can see it. That is that bolt here. Why I call it magic? For those who have experience with processing cans with double arbor multi-rib, I think they know from time to time we have situation, we put set of blades on bottom arbor, we put set of blades on top arbor, we start cutting, then after cutting we check the quality of boards and we see some discrepancies of the board thickness. We see that there is kind of line in the place where both blades meet, and this particular board here is just to correct it. With that bolt we are able to compensate position of the top arbor, just to correct misalignment of blades located on top and on the bottom arbor. So our strong recommendation, when you put new set of blades on the machine, first it's recommended to conduct some trial cut just to check whether the blades are aligned correctly. If we see some discrepancies, all those discrepancies could be corrected, could be fixed by that bolt. What else we have here? Cezary, can I ask you to point your camera to the top part of the machine? Here we have 3 screws. Those first screw is just for positioning the top arbor. So with that screw we can position blades located on top arbor. Here the same, but it positions bottom arbor. And that screw here is associated with that scale. We need to position the whole head with hold down rollers to the cant which we are supposed to cut. So that machine must be initially preset to the cant thickness. It means we lose a little bit on flexibility because we can't mix cants in terms of the thickness. It is recommended to sort those cants. But with that we are able to get much better output production volume. Regarding the output production volume, there is no clear answer saying what could be maximum, but based on our data collected from the market, maximum output cutting volume which we could get on that machine is up to 10 cubic meters of sawn timber per hour. And those data are collected from local market. There is one customer near from Wood-Mizer who uses that kind of machine together with our TVS. He is pallet producer. Their average daily production is 4 lorries, 4 trucks of logs. One truck is about 27 and 28 cubic meters of log. His shift is 10 hours, so he has 10-hour shifts, what means the direct working time is about 8 hours. So 8-hour working shift, we are able to process over 100 cubic meters of logs. So I think the volume is significant here. We lose on flexibility because we need to preset initial height of the top head, but we can get nice production, output production volume. Weight of the machine weighs up 2 tons, is not very heavy. To transport it, we don't need to put the machine on the pallet. We can take it by the forklift and transport it anywhere. We can transport it on the truck, and then we can unload it and transport it to its destination place. So transporting is not an issue here. Machine is very quiet. Average noise level is below 95 decibels. As you could see, the machine has very good access for servicing, for blade replacement. Also, a nice feature of that machine is the size of the machine is relatively small in comparison to machine parameters. 200 millimeters thick cant is big cant, and the machine size in comparison to those cants is relatively small. Okay, let's go to the machine name, how to understand it, what is the name interpretation. I think now on your screen you should be able to see example name of the machine. How to understand it, what is the name interpretation. MR stands to multi-rib. 200 means maximum cant thickness. Then we have EH, what refers electric. H means that is voltage type. 3-phase, 400 volts, 50 Hertz. Then we have number which refers to the machine power. 80 horsepower means that we have 240 horsepower electric motor. 40 horsepower means it's 30 kW. Here in Wood-Mizer we decided to name the machine using horsepower as a powering unit. The reason for that, here in Europe kilowatts is more popular, but because we are American company, we long time ago we decided to use a horsepower as a power unit in the machine nomenclature. And then last 3 digits, that is maximum cant thickness which we are able to process on that machine. So if we have narrower version, then we have -450. So I think the name is pretty intuitive. The prices. The price range, the price depends on the machine configuration, what kind of electric motors we use, what is the additional equipment. But the price range, we can say it starts from 22,000 euro up to about 30,000 euro. Price of additional equipment. The price of the chipper is about 1,700 euros, the chipper which is located in the sewing chamber. The sawdust extractor, the price of it is 1,100 euros. The tables, in-feed and out-feed, those tables are built exactly in the same way. The price of single module is 475 euros. Then the spacers which are located just between the blades. Set of spacers, and set of spacers I mean spacers which cover all length of both arbors, top and bottom arbor. The full length of spacers, the price of it is 270 euro. Automatic feed speed controller, that feature which I described a little bit earlier, and that feature I highly recommend. Price of it is 290 euro. So it's not expensive, but is very recommended because with that feature we are able to increase the blade life significantly, because we don't overtension the blade, and also we are able to increase life of the electric motors and also of a power transmission system, mostly of the belts. And last additional equipment, laser located on in-feed side. Price of it is 570 euro. Okay, I think right now we are ready to present you the machine, how it cuts, and after cutting presentation we will come back to some summary and to question and answer part. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so we are after a cutting presentation. I think presentation was quite smooth. There were no any unexpected surprises. I think I will ask Maciej to open the covers just to show the chamber where all dust, those pieces, bigger pieces which are generated during the cutting process are located. Cezary, could you please point your camera here? We cut only 2 cans. Those cans were 140 millimeters thick. There were 12 blades located on top and 12 blades located on bottom arbor. As you, I hope, can see, the sawdust chamber is clean, and that is thanks to the chipper. Chipper, based on our collected data, the chipper helps a lot with effective sawdust removal. The customer I mentioned before, who uses that machine together with TVS for producing pallets, initially he started using that machine without that chipper, but at some stage he decided to add it, and that chipper increased significantly his output production, because meantime there was no need to switch the machine off and clean it because of all collected bigger pieces of wood generated during the cutting process. As an interesting thing, I can tell you that right now we also started tests with higher model of double arbor multi-rib with bigger capacities, with maximum can thickness up to 240 millimeters, and with electric positioning top and bottom arbor, and also electric positioning of the cutting head. Okay, I think now we can go to the question and answer section. We are back. Thank you all for attending the show. After the cutting presentation, I completely forgot to show you the boards which are just a result of the cutting presentation. I will come back to the boards which we cut just to present you the quality of the surface we are able to get on that machine. Czarek, please point your camera to the boards which we just cut. As I hope you can see, the quality of the board is very good. The board is very smooth, and you cannot see any physical place where both blades, which are located on top and bottom arbor, meets. The board is very smooth here. The quality of the surface, I think, is also very high. Okay, let's come back to answers and questions section. Okay, we already have a few questions here. The first question comes from Wood-Mizer, Indianapolis. And the question is, do you offer manual or electric blade adjustment? I think partly I already answered that question. Presented machine is with manual positioning. The version of the machine we are working now will be with electric positioning both arbors and also the head. So that is something what we started testing. The machine in that configuration is not ready yet, but we started testing. Hopefully from next year, from the beginning of next year, higher model of that machine also will be available. The next question comes from Wood-Mizer, India, from Bobby. Are spacers provided as per customer requirements? Yes. As I mentioned, a spacer is additional equipment here. Here, when we discuss with the customer the machine configuration, it's highly recommended to ask the customer what will be his typical cutting thickness. Based on that, we are able to prepare set of spacers. We can prepare 1, 2, or 3 set of spacers. Price of one set, as I mentioned before, it covers full length of top and bottom arbor. Price of it is about 290 euros. And next questions come from Wood-Mizer, Africa, from Piet. Is there any option for driven in feed tables? For now, not. But if we want to incorporate that machine to some automatic system, then we can discuss that project as a separate subject. So currently that option is not available, but possible. And here we need some individual discussion. Next question from Wood-Mizer, Asia, Rob Moxham. How long does it typically take to change the blades? Usually it takes, I think, when we have the blades ready, it takes about 10-15 minutes. We have good access to replace the blades. All what we need to do is just to untighten the nut, just remove current set of blade and put new set of blade. That machine is not available with the sleeve. So it means the blades are located directly on the shaft and the spacers are between the blades. Second question from Rob. Physically, how often do we need to replace the blades? I think there is no direct answer to that question, because this depends on some other factors, like what kind of wood we are processing, different situation will be with softwood, different situation with hardwood, and also it depends on quality of the blades, or I think even more important is quality of the carbide on the blades. Based on our collected data, with good quality blades and with pine, so pine is relatively softwood, we are able to get production of even up to 80 cubic meters of boards on one set of blades. If we use worse quality blades, then of course that volume will be smaller, 40-50 cubic meters of sawn timber cut on one set of blades. Next question from Wood-Mizer, Germany, from Kirsten. The feed speed controller also speeds up or just reduces if necessary? No, feed speed controller only reduces the feed speed. But except the feed speed controller, the operator also has clear view on both amperometers. So when he is about to set the feed speed, initially he can take a look on amperometers. So if he sees that those amperometers are on a safe level, then he is able to increase the speed. Then in time, when the blades are slowly getting blunt, then the speed controller will be decreasing the feed speed. Next question from Wood-Mizer, India, from Bobby. Is there a laser line option? Yes, laser is optional here. The price of the laser is 570 euros. Second question from Bobby. Is there any anti-kickback option available? Anti-kickback option. I think here we are referring to the anti-kickback fingers, which are safety features of that machine. I'm not sure whether I understand that question correctly. The machine is very safe. On that machine we have 3 rows of top anti-kickback fingers and 1 row of bottom anti-kickback fingers. So from safety point of view, the machine is very safe. Question from Wood-Mizer, Spain, from Enrique. What is the thickness of the blades? It of course depends on diameter of the blades which we are supposed to use. The blade range is, the diameter is from 200 up to 315 millimeters. Maximum blade diameter, the curve thickness is about 5 millimeters. With blades of thickness of 250, the curve thickness, as far as I remember, is 2.5, something in between 2.2 up to 2.5 millimeters. 3.2 up to 3.5 millimeters. Of course, if we use smaller diameter blades, if we are supposed to process relatively small cans, then we could go with smaller blades, and then of course the curve is thinner. So the blade and its thickness is kind of individual thing. The next question from Wood-Mizer, Poland, how often the saws are to be replaced? I think I already answered that question. Maybe quick repetition. With good quality saw, up to 80 cubic meters of sawn timber. With worse blades, 40-50 cubic meters of sawn timber. So I think if we refer to output production, if we take situation that multi-rib works together with TVS, so we can consider situation like here in Poland, we have pallet producer. In that application, we can replace the blades once a shift. If, another example, that multi-rib works together with WB2000 sawmill, with that application, we can replace the blades every second shift of operation. The next question from Wood-Mizer, Poland. What is the standard lead time for this multi-rib? Average lead time for that machine is 3 months, but here we have limited resources and confirmation of every lead time must be individual. So we need to individually confirm lead time. Average lead time 3 months. Next question from Wood-Mizer, Poland. What spare part should be kept in stock? The machine is built in that way that we don't need to keep on the stock a lot of components, a lot of parts. We recommend to keep just the belts. All other equipment is built to last long time. I forgot to mention during the presentation, but even all bearing housing which are used on that machine are not made of iron like usually, or all bearing housings are made of steel, and steel is far better resistant for cracks. So unexpectedly, if somebody hits the bearing housing, steel bearing housing durability is much higher. So regarding the spare parts, all what we should to keep on our stock is just belts and blades. Also, we on our stock here in Wood-Mizer, we keep all other required parts like shafts, like some other main components like feed rollers. So if it will be necessary, we can provide those parts quickly. But except blades and pulley and belts, we don't need to keep on our stock any other parts. Training. Question from Wood-Mizer, Poland, about the training. First training will be conducted by our service department. We are also preparing CD disk with training, and we believe those information should be sufficient for all our agents, our representatives, to conduct next training themselves. But if it will be necessary to conduct next training with our service department, that is also possible. So we are open. So we believe one training and CD disk with training materials should be sufficient, but also we are open for to conduct next additional training. Question from Wood-Mizer, Poland. What is the maximum number of circular saws that could be installed? As probably you expect, there is no clear answer to that question. Officially, we say we can put 12 blades on top and 12 blades on bottom arbor, but the truth is a little bit different. There are situations where we can put more blades than those 12. To calculate number of blades, I have simple calculator built based on Excel sheet. Based on that, we can compare few factors. Just to calculate proper number of blades, we need to compare 5 factors. And those factors are the can thickness, the kind of wood we are supposed to process, softwood or hardwood, then the feed speed, the curve thickness, and the electric motor powers. We can compare all those factors, and based on particular application, we can calculate how many blades we can put on that machine. With that calculator, we can calculate number of blades, but we can also verify another scenario. We know what is our count, we know our count size, we know how many blades we can put on the machine, we know what is the curve thickness, we know what is the electric motor power here. Based on that, we can verify the feed speed. Also, with that calculator, if we discuss with any potential customer the machine configuration, with that calculator, we can verify or just calculate what is required power just to meet the customer expectation. That calculator could be used for MR200 needs, but also to any other edger or multi-rip. So it's a very universal tool. So please contact me, directly me. I can share with you that calculator and explain you how to properly use it. I think that is very useful tool which could be used in many applications. Next question from Wood-Mizer, Africa. Is there any brochure available? The brochure is almost ready. All basic data, the parameters I have in my computer, the brochure will be available soon, I think in 2-3 weeks. A question from Wood-Mizer, Poland. What is the difference between multi-rip and edger? Edger, the purpose of the edger is just to edge boards. So we feed an edge board and we get board with removed sides. The purpose of multi-rip is just to break down cants into boards. The difference between cant and board, cant is usually far thicker than the board, and we cut in vertical surface. So we get boards out of cant in vertical surface. And also another practical difference. In edgers, we usually don't need to preset hold down rollers. We usually cover whole height of the boards or cants we are supposed to process, but usually we don't process those thick cants. With multi-rip, we need to initially position head with hold down rollers. That is we lose flexibility a little, but we gain a lot on production volume. And as you could see, we were during the show, during the presentation, we were processing relatively thick cants. And as you could see, Maciej, when he positioned the log for the cut, all his effort was just to push it gently until the assistance roller takes it. And then the feeding is automatic. With the edger, especially when we are supposed to cut thicker material, we need to put a lot of effort just to feed it. So that is, I think, practical difference, edger versus a multi-rip. Wood-Mizer, next question from Wood-Mizer, Germany. If I understand right, a short answer to a customer could be 12 blades top and bottom. You can cut up to 20 centimeters high cant with 30 kW motors, correct? It depends what kind of wood we are supposed to process. Just after presentation I can do a quick simulation. Pine, I think pine or spruce we should be able to process. I'm not sure about hardwood. I need to do some calculation. But based on, I think if we decrease the feed speed, we should be able to do this. But I have to double check it. Also, I forgot to mention one thing. We have also one unit with stronger electric motors, with 37 kW electric motors. The machine is finished, the machine is working, the testing results are okay. The machine is not added to the offer, but we are working also on that type of machine which could be equipped with stronger electric motors. But that information will be revealed later. So Klaus, I will come back with that answer later, after the presentation. Okay, do we have any? Okay, I think that was the last question. So thank you all for the attention, and see you soon. Thank you.